Like a lot of the centers have changed to part-time, full-time. Instead of doing the hourly rate, they do it, you can contract for 20 hours a week, you get charged this. If you do for over 40 hours a week, you get this rate.
Kind of the way DHS does that with
right. They all do it with
pods or
units.
Units.
Yeah, 1 unit is 5 hours. So I didn't know how far to, where to.
Well, what if we experimented? I mean, at least thinking about the unit thing for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would that be?
We would just have to put a new rate in the Easy Care program. All these rates are in there for each child. If you have the first child, each one of these rates gets to put in a column so that the computer automatically knows how to charge it.
Yeah,
So
I'm not saying complicated. I mean, maybe it's too complicated to do that. I don't know.
It would just have to be making sure we mark the right children, and maybe like when they fill out the form and bring it to us, that would be the documentation that would help us to know exactly who gets to have that qualifying rate. I don't, there has to be.
When we talked about this, I think we're kind of thinking maybe to help keep some kids here or get some new kids here that are maybe staying at home by themselves in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was thinking more doing the school age more than, the younger ones as well.
Now, school agers usually qualifies for 5-year-olds on up. That's who's in that room.
Right. And,
yeah, 5 through 12. 12 years of age.
So what's your recommendation? What do you think at this point?
I can just do school age. I just need to know what the board wants me to do.
My instinct is if our school age numbers have dropped a little bit, we're probably
for summer
should think that through. And maybe if it'd be easier to do it on units with just the school age, maybe that would be a way of.
If they do 20 hours a week, it's this
So
this
many
rate.
hours
If they
for
do
this
40
many
hours a
hours
week,
and-
this way.
Yeah,
Just for school age.
just for school age.
But how do you schedule?
Well, they still have to turn their contract,
Oh,
and it will tabulate the hours.
It'd be easier to schedule staff because your ratio's bigger. I mean, you got the 1 to 10.
now with
And
those
then-
units, it's
It's 5
saying
hours.
it's a flat, or for every 5 hours, so we contract for 5-hour blocks, basically, or.
No, well, they turn a contract. If they turn a contract in for 15 hours, then they pay the
And
20 hours.
You don't know when those 15 hours are going to be. So,
But it would just be a rate if they wanted to do 20 hours. If they wanted to do 18, then it would be the 20-hour rate. If they wanted to do the 40s and they only contracted 30, I mean, that's just the way.
So you're thinking it'd be like one rate for less than 20 hours, one rate for
Right.
more than 20
If you want to do it
hours.
in units like DHS does it, or if you wanted to do it an hourly rate, continue on with what we're doing, I can do that as well. I just need to know.
that can be confusing for parents if they've got 2 kids, one that's not.
maybe, I don't know. Might be.
Okay, so the kindergartners now, do they bump up to school age kids in the
Yes, they
summer?
do. Yeah, when school's out, they move into the school age room. And, I think I think there's like 13 kids that will be able to move up. There's 14 that will turn 5. They're in kindergarten. Anybody who's in kindergarten goes 5.
I would like to do a reduction in the rate for the school age for the summer.
Okay. Do you want me to do an hourly rate? Suggest an hourly rate, or do you want to do units?
The hourly rate
I
would be
would
somewhere.
rather stay with the hourly rate,
Okay.
for this year, since maybe next year I wouldn't mind revisiting
Okay.
that issue down the road again somewhere.
Okay. Or even in the summer when we look through the.
I won't be looking.
Well, is it July? when I do the evaluations on staff, and we usually do
July
that,
1.
yeah.
That's when our
Yeah,
fiscal year starts.
yeah.
I just think it'd be hard to do those units as part of them and not
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
if you're gonna do.
But this was the kind of
My own
the,
kids, you know, if I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to keep track of Hallie being a school-age kid,
Yeah.
and that being by unit.
but you guys would, when you would fill out your contracts, just like you normally do, and when you're school age, if you have a 2-year-old and if you have a school age, then when Jane puts it into the computer, it would, you know, once she gets it set up, it would, just whenever she typed that child's name, it would plunk over, but
So
I
the
agree
contract,
there.
you would still fill out
right, you
your
still have to
hourly.
fill out the hours. And if you contracted 13 hours, you would be charged a 20-hour rate.
Which is
If-
higher than the 40-hour.
Well, I don't know, we
You'd be
did
charged
talk.
for 20 hours.
Right, if you did it that way.
Your contract is
And that's
7
how,
hours.
that's how a lot of centers are doing that, do it that way. So we're trying to help the parents by allowing them to only get charged by an hour.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah,
doing now that hourly
Yeah.
rate.
As a parent, I don't like the sound of that, but
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And maybe it'd be easier than just to do the hourly.
because, for example, with Hallie next year going to kindergarten, debating on whether or not to have her come here after school, if you're gonna charge me for 20 hours when she's only, you know, to
I
me,
understand.
that's, I'm gonna go, ooh, I'm gonna find some other way
And
for
then
her to.
there's other centers that have they call it before and after school program, where there's a rate they charge if your child's going to be here, you know, every day, you know, it's like $50 a week. I'm just pulling a figure out of the top of my head that they do before and after school, so the child, I mean, that's just the rate the parents know they have to pay weekly for that child to be able to come before or after school. And the also thing that kind of helps them in some situations, if school is let out early, then that covers that. But then other times during the week when they're not and everything's hunky-dory, they might be paying a little bit more higher, but they always have that guarantee if the water pipes break at school and they have to get out of there, that
You know,
their
that's
child
maybe
there.
not a bad thought to do it
Yeah.
that way.
But that's, you know, something we can look at
If
down.
they're going to take, if they're
Mhm.
sick and not here, they still
Right.
pay, but if it's an early out,
Mhm.
you're still only paying the same amount.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Which was a concern, you
Yeah.
know,
I know.
with the way winter was this year.
Yeah, that's maybe something to look at.
Because we have a lot of parents that, you know, want to
I kind of
know.
like that.
We pick them up, but they want us to call as soon as we know, because they always don't know it, and then they beat it here to get at the kids. To, you know,
So
get
where do you
them.
think this rate should be then per hour? Do you think that's the number right there?
Mhm. Because of what drops from this.
So in this school age group, do you know what the total, you probably don't off the top of your head, know what the total number of hours?
No, I can't
Is
tell you
there-
that. Yeah, that
Okay.
varies so much for
Okay.
me. Well, I do know there's 4 children here that are always over 40 hours in this side, that are always 40 hours. But that, otherwise, everybody else pretty fluctuates.
So that a 10, and it will be a 10 ratio.
Ratio.
So it's not 20 an hour. Costs us one staff.
Yes, that is. Well, how many, yeah,
One.
1, if there's 10 children.
But if they go to the pool,
Then it drops to 7, because we're leaving the premises. Whenever we leave the premises, we have to.
7, so 14. Okay. Here it costs us, what, $9 an hour from?
Yeah, we imagine. Yeah.
Okay.
And the whole thing is that when the minimum wage increased, that's what had to force us to go up on our rates. I mean, we are an operating business and we need to cover
Oh,
their
I think-
expenses, so.
And the only place that's where the changes have shown up is on the school age, it
Correct.
sounds like. So-
Correct.
Well, I think that looks like what we ought to do. If that's your recommendation, I think that's what.
That would be my recommendation, is that, but you guys are parents as well. I mean, it was $1.85, so I'm thinking, well, if it's only 15 cents more.
What do you guys think is perhaps a reasonable number?
I think looking at the numbers, it seems like a heck of a deal.
Was it too low?